Okay. 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 Welcome, Rabbit. Wait. Hello.
Hi, Eric. Thanks for having me.
Hey. Okay. Good night. Now we start. Today 我们邀请到了ZEN 的项目方来进行一场 AMA， 我们可能会探讨一些就隐私相关的问题。
Okay, so today we have a project of Horizen, and we're going to have some discussions about privacy.
Yeah. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Robot. First question. 可以就你自己的项目想要 Bank 的大家介绍一下，就是 ZEN 这个项目吗？
Hi, Robert. Could you please introduce this project of Horizen to members of our bank?
I would love to. Yeah, so first of all, my name is Robert Viglione, and I'm the co-founder of Horizen and the CEO of Horizen Labs, the software company, building on top of the network. And so Horizen itself started in 2017, really as a fork of the Zcash tech stack. And the idea was to extend privacy into more of a data structure type of like data privacy, and to also do massive scalability. So to combine some really important technologies that we felt were really critical to getting blockchain to scale into doing more than just currency, but to actually get this technology into the business applications. So where we are today is we're very much a sidechain technology platform, kind of like Polkadot or Cosmos, but mixing that with like zero-knowledge cryptography, these zero-knowledge proofs, ZKPs, in particular snarks, really for data privacy and getting this out to different business applications.
关注的比如说零知识证明这个内容，就你刚才提到一个项目叫 Zcash， 其实 AL Bank 我们在2017年我们就上线了 Zcash 这个项目，所以我想问一下，就是在因为都是使用的零知识证明，我想问一下，就 Zcash 和我们的 ZEN 就在技术上有哪些区别呢？
Okay, I have been concerned with a lot of projects that have used zero knowledge proof, such as Zcash. Actually, we listed Zcash in 2017, which also uses zero knowledge proof. And I wanted to ask you, what is the difference between Zcash and our project in terms of the technology being used?
Yeah, so we take the snark technology into doing a few different things with it. So one is sidechain security. So we use snarks for sidechain security. How these sidechains can communicate with securely with the main Horizen blockchain. We use snarks for data privacy, so we can have different privacy-centric applications that preserve information for their users. You can think of things like digital invoicing. We could potentially have even some gaming privacy applications. We can have healthcare type of things where people certainly would not want their information declared to the public if you post it onto a public ledger. And then we also use snarks in an interesting way. Like there's a project called Mina, and Mina is all about a succinct database for their blockchain. So basically, what we do is we integrate a recursive snark technique that has the chain state itself called recursively. I know that sounds a little strange here, but what it does is it keeps the blockchain size constant so that over time, as these sidechains get a lot of usage, their size does not increase. As an example, I can't even run a Bitcoin blockchain full node on my computer right now. It's just too big, and we don't want this to happen with our technology. So this is how we use snarks, and snarks are known for privacy applications, but really the first and most important application of snarks for us is on security, then it's data privacy, and then it's actually just a cutting edge technology to scale blockchain as it gets more usage.
使用的更多。
OK， OK， 特别棒。就我刚才听到的有几个我自己特别喜欢的东西啊，就比如说我们刚才提到那个项目叫 Mina， 众所周知就是Mina 其实已经算是一个就目前来说被大家特别关注的一个明星项目。 尤其它在这个月在 CoinList 上完成了一轮募集。那 Mina 做的其实是个轻量级的协议，它会把协议进行各式各样的压缩，然后就是让协议可以运转的更为流畅。那我刚刚听到，可能我们的 ZEN 和 Mina 当中其实有一些类似的点。然后另外有一个项目是我们提到了策略，因为其实有一个项目一直被我们从去年一直关注到现在 Polkadot， 因为 Polkadot 它主要做的是在跨链这一块。那我想问一下，就是跨链和侧链这两个技术，你觉得就是我们 ZEN 在这块有什么优势和 Polkadot 相比？
Okay, very great. Actually, fabulous. I've heard several things that I like particularly. For example, Mina, which, as we all know, is a star program and has itself listed and raised a lot of fund in the coin list. It's pretty light. It's a light protocol. It facilitates the flow of many protocols, which is a little similar to what I think of Horizen. And speaking of a side chain, there's another project called Polkadot. And I wanted to ask you, what are the competitive edges that you think Horizen has compared with Polkadot or similar public chains?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And it is exactly how we view ourselves right now in this competitive landscape. So we differ from Polkadot in that we are much lower cost and more permissionless and decentralized and more secure. And these are strong statements to make, but let me explain. So lower cost in that for Polkadot to run a parachain, which is their version of a side chain, you have to competitively bid to be a validator to actually participate in the system. And they have a limited number of slots for validators and a limited number of chains that could actually exist, parachains. In our case, we have a permissionless system where we replace validators with cryptographic circuits, these zero-knowledge cryptographic circuits, and we have a software developer kit so that any developer or business or person can grab the SDK and launch their own blockchain in our ecosystem. You don't have to ask permission. You don't have to bid for a special slot to win the right to do that. You don't have to bid as a validator. You just grab the technology and you deploy it. So the costs are significantly lower. Now, why I say more security is because we have a 6-part security system. The most important element of this is we have a cryptographic circuit that processes transactions that happen on sidechains, make sure that they actually conform to the cryptographic circuit, and then we have a certificate sent back to the main blockchain, the main Horizen blockchain. Now, anyone in the world can verify that what happened on all of these sidechains is actually conformed to consensus. So what I mean by more security here is that rather than having to rely on an honest majority of validators in our system, you actually rely on cryptography directly. So we remove the humans from the loop and remove the security implications of having humans in the loop that could be co-opted or could be malicious. And then actually maybe the final piece of this that I should mention is the capacity in our network is much more significant in that in the first version of our sidechain technology, you can run up to about 1,000 blockchains in parallel on our network, whereas Polkadot, for example, has a target capacity of 100 blockchains that could be run in parallel.
哇，这个真的是很夸张的一个数据，因为我们知道，就是波卡的平行卡槽的拍卖可能就现在刚进展到Q3嘛，就是它的一个测试网。那至于它主网的卡槽拍卖，就目前来说，可能大家普遍预期可能要放到3季度了。而且就是到时候平稳运行其实还存在问题，但是我们看到就可能 ZEN 已经在这一块有了一定的突破。OK， 那下一个问题就是我想问一下，因为 ZEN 就是目前隐私赛道其实特别火，隐私赛道上有大量的项目，像最早的 ZK， 包括现在 ZEN， 包括 SCRT， 凡此种种，我想问一下，就是你会觉得就是哪一个项目可能是我们 ZEN 最大的一个竞争对手？然后 ZEN 和这些项目相比的话，你觉得优势有哪些？
Wow, this is fascinating statistics that you just provided. As we all know that the Polkadot bid is not going very smoothly, and as we know that the main chain bid for their slots will be postponed to the season 3, and there may be further problems. So we can see that ZEN Horizen has made breakthroughs. And my next question is that the privacy blockchain has been a very heatedly discussed and implemented project. Then we have many similar products. And which do you think would be your most competitor? And compare with the competitor, what advantage do you think you have?
Yeah, so I actually don't look at our competition in the privacy space, which sounds a little strange because we are experts in zero-knowledge cryptography, and that's typically associated with, say, coin anonymity, right? And certainly you could do that with our technology, but really where I view our competition to be is in the sidechain category, so competitors like Polkadot, like Cosmos, and then our sidechains themselves are actually use the same technology or very similar technology to Cardano. We use Ouroboros Praus, which is a peer-reviewed proof-of-stake protocol that actually the same research and development team that built Cardano also works with us. They're called IOHK, Input Output Hong Kong. It's run by Charles Hoskinson, and we have a very important cryptographic team from IOHK that has helped us actually modify Ouroboros Praus to be our sidechain protocol. So we've modified it in a few important ways. One, and probably the most important one to talk about is because we've included recursive snarks, just like Mina has, so we can keep the blockchain itself very low footprint and not actually have that scale with usage, like we talked about previously. But really, so if we think about competitors here, it's like Horizen is a mix of like Polkadot meets Cardano, meets Mina, and then we just have different variants of zero-knowledge proof technology that's very similar to Zcash, but we're not competing against Zcash as an example, as like a privacy coin. That's just not the space that we're in. We're more in the scaling blockchain into real use as a platform. So you need a platform. The platform must be massively scalable. Cost must not scale with usage if it's going to be mainstream, and it has to be highly secure. So that's what we've built here.
OK， 那现在听下来的话，其实我了解的，可能我们ZEN接下来一段时间的重心，其实可能不是就可能是会在应用层上做一下突破。那如果应用层的话，其实有一个所有的项目都绕不开的话题，就是一个支持我们主网的一个钱包，就一个移动钱包。就我不知道，就我们那个ZEN在这一块有没有什么开发计划，或者接下来有什么打算
Okay, well, I think the most important thing that I want to talk about, and I think I'm concerned with, is about the applications. And I think this is probably going to be something that you want to make breakthroughs. And there's actually one thing that no projects can get around of, which is the wallets that support the public chain. Do you have any plans to implement the wallets to support the public chain?
Yeah, I'm sorry, to internet the public, so basically to have Web3 type of public wallets like MetaMask, is that really the question? Because in general, what I can say is absolutely, every project needs a very robust developer ecosystem around it, in which you have a very rich set of applications that are being built on your protocol. What we offer here is a protocol that's massively scalable, low cost, and highly secure. Now, the next step, as we build out our ecosystem, and we've been around for 4 years, so we have a large community that's very active and supportive. We have a very powerful technology that we're just completing now. Like everything that I've talked about, we're delivering. We're completing development in the next 2 weeks. All right. Now, the next step here for us is ecosystem building on the developer side, so that we can have like a rich set of wallets. And we need to get in much more into the Web3 environment, so that you can integrate wallets into your web browser, as an example. Like I think MetaMask is just a fantastic example of a super user-friendly wallet that resides in your browser, and you could do many things with it because it opens up a much broader ecosystem. These are all things that we are doing right now, and we will continue to do. And the next big investments that we're making as an ecosystem are directly into our community developers and into the entrepreneurs that want to build in our ecosystem by doing things like having a grant and bounty program to actually subsidize people building in our ecosystem. And potentially, we're even looking at some opportunities to invest in startups that want to build in our ecosystem. Now, all of that said, we still have Zen available on something like a dozen wallets right now. We have our own wallet in our ecosystem. We have community developed wallets. We have a wallet maintained by the foundation, and we're continuing to grow them from there. So I certainly agree. We need many integrations. This includes exchanges like LBank. We're very excited to be working with LBank. It includes many wallets out there, and we're on many third-party wallets right now. It includes other integrations into, say, DeFi ecosystems, like we have an integration right now into the Ethereum DeFi ecosystem through a wrapped Zen product called Staked Zen, and so on. So our goal is to continue having more integrations so we can build out our ecosystem. We absolutely have to. So, I mean, I completely agree with that question.
Okay. 其实这个事情是这样的，就我个人的一个想法，就目前所有的公链，竞争的其实无非就两个方面，第一个是它的技术，因为目前其实像你刚才说的，可能就是所有一他们在技术上要么实名制证，要么其他的，其实都是比较类似的。那除此以外的话，就是它的一个生态，我们可以看到，就是目前来说，很多项目我们都会说它是以太坊杀手，那是因为以太坊目前的生态，目前是所有的公链项目当中最好的。那我们讨论项目的话，我们可能会说是目前一个格局叫一超多强，一超就是以太坊，然后强的话可能类似于比如说 Polkadot， 然后比如说 NIA， 然后比如说最近比较讨论的，比如 Solana， 就这些。那他们其实都基于自身的这个公链已经构建了一个庞大的生态，所以我想问，就 ZEN 在这一块，我们就是想怎么样进行一些就和这些公链进行一些竞争，来获得更庞大的一个社区生态的一个支持和一个技术生态的一个开发。
Okay. Here are my several personal thoughts. I think there are two main aspects that the public chains are competing with each other. First of all, technology, but as you said, they all use similar technologies. And the second aspect is ecosystem. As we all know, that Ethereum is probably the best public chain, and a lot of the projects claim and purported to be the Ethereum killer. But the current situation is that we say that there's one superpower and another stronghold. The superpower is the Ethereum. Other strongholds such as Polkadot, MIA, and Solana, these are all public chains. And they all want to build their own ecosystems to compete with Ethereum or maybe kill Ethereum. And so I want to ask you, do you have any plans, like any programs that will help you build a large ecosystem to support developers, to support the technologies on your public chain?
Yes, absolutely. And I also agree with that view of the world. It's just the reality that we see right now. Now, the one caveat that I will say is that MySpace used to have the largest social networking ecosystem as well, and they were overtaken. That said, we're not so confident that we're going to just overnight overtake the dominant ecosystem. I have a lot of respect for Ethereum, in particular the community of developers and entrepreneurs that are building applications in the Ethereum network. I view them as different than us, and our strategy is actually to partner with large businesses and just large ecosystems outside of the crypto and blockchain world to get that distribution. So I look at what we're doing from two perspectives. One perspective is the cryptocurrency guy who's been in blockchain for a decade, and I understand that, I get it. On the other hand, an entrepreneur building a software business where I think about distribution. We have technology, we have product, the product solves real use cases out there, and then I think about distribution by partnering with very large software and other enterprises to actually be their blockchain solution to get out there to a very large market that just leapfrogs what we're doing. So yes, Ethereum dominates in the crypto world right now, and you have a large clustering and just a large ecosystem around Ethereum doing crypto things. And they're doing that fantastically. I mean, not perfectly, because there are still some problems in the Ethereum ecosystem. In our world, we're looking to leapfrog that completely, not to compete with them directly, but to go a different direction and to actually have massive distribution by finding the right partners outside of the crypto industry so that we can solve problems for them more securely, more cheaply, in a way that actually fits better with their business models, because they want more control. They don't want to just rely on other core developers on another system. So there are a variety of reasons for why other people are choosing us as big partners, and more of these types of news will be announced in the coming weeks and months.
OK， 其实有一个词我最近一直听到，我也特别喜欢，叫元宇宙。我会觉得区块链其实和我们传统世界相比的话，它可能就像一个全新的世界，像一个平行宇宙一样。那在这个元宇宙里面，我觉得会有各式各样的星球，它就是像我们的公链一样。就比如说，可能地球它是一个公链，或者火星它是一个公链，或者月球是一个公链。那到时候可能我们每个人会选择自己喜欢的，或者说合适自己的星球去居住。所以我会认为说，在未来的5到10年，可能会有各式各样的星球，也就是公链会不断的就茁壮成长，然后也不断的就一直在这个行业里面。那就我比较好奇的就是我们Horizen 就我们 ZEN 的我们最终目标，我们是想要达成一个什么样的一个星球？就是我们想要构建一个什么样的世界
Okay, thank you so much. There's a word I like very much, which is metaverse. And I think blockchain, the word of blockchain, is just like a parallel world to our real world. And so, as we all know, in the universe, there are a wide variety of planets. Earth is one planet, which can be viewed as a public chain in the world of blockchain. Mars can be viewed as another public chain. Or even Moon can also be viewed as a public chain. And we people living in the blockchain, the world of blockchain, would choose the suitable planet to live on. And in the next 5 to 10 years, there will be many different platforms with different styles, and the public chains will grow, will be striving. So out of curiosity, what is our ultimate goal? What kind of planet do we want to become? The Horizen planet?
Yeah, that's a very interesting way of looking at this industry as a sort of multiverse, and in sort of like I said previously about how we're approaching our strategy and going to market by building products that we know that customers and like very large enterprises want. This will get us a lot of traction. Now, I don't think that we're going to solve all of the world's problems with just our chain. The future that I envision for this industry really has two major forces that are like inducing change. So the one force is really the one that people most often think about. It's the economies of scale, right? So the bigger you are, the bigger your network is, like Ethereum, the more it makes people want to join the network, right? So you have this kind of cascade effect of people joining your network because you're a larger network and you have a lot of activity on that network. The other big force is innovation. And innovation is rapid iterations, rapid trial and error to solve different problems. And there are thousands of problems in the business world, the world of governments, just civil society, for which this technology will play a role, maybe in some cases a leading role, and in other cases a supporting role. So for each of these elements of where this technology can play a role, you're going to have many people, many different chains that are trying to solve some of these problems. Some of these protocols try to solve every problem, and they try to claim that they're going to be the one chain that does everything. Like in the early days, or until quite recently, you had these Bitcoin maximalists who just figured there can only exist Bitcoin. Anything else is just a scam. They called it a shitcoin. It didn't matter what level of innovation was going on. But the reality is innovation matters. Now, of course, economies of scale also matters. And I view these as two sort of opposing forces. Now, where Horizen comes in this evolution, I think will be made more clear over the coming years. So what we've done strategically is we've built out a technology that is unique, just in the way that we've done it. It scales significantly. It keeps costs low, which we know is important for many people, for many different applications. And security is the most important thing to this protocol. So we position ourselves to solve many problems, not all problems, We're not going to, overtake Ethereum on everything that they're doing over there. We're not going to overtake Avalanche on everything they're doing or Algorand on everything they're doing. I think that this ecosystem will be like a multiverse, and where we set will probably be on that high security, massive scalability, and low cost set of dimensions.
OK， 特别棒。我特别认同你说的一个点啊，就是我会觉得这个世界应该有2级，一级我们叫它大而美，不 ，sorry 是大而全，然后还有一级可能是小而美。那大而全的可能类似于像你刚才比如说ETHScan， 就比如说以太坊或者 Polkadot， 他们做的可能是大而全，他们上面什么都有，他们适合绝大部分人来居住，他们是这样的一个星球。那还有小部分呢，我们可能是小而美的，它没有办法解决所有的问题，它只能解决部分它最擅长的问题。那这样的话，它可能适合某一些部分的人居住，但是部分人对这些，它就有点像，就比如说我们最近特别火的 NFT， 就是他会疯狂的迷恋这样只属于自己的小而美的星球。我听下来，可能这个就是 ZEN 未来想要做的一个事情。
Fantastic. I totally agree with the view. But still, I want to add something. I think there are 2 opposing forces, or maybe like 2 types of ecosystems. The first type is that you want to be comprehensive, you want to be inclusive, or like you want to solve all problems. At least that's what you intended to do. Like Ethereum and Polkadot. And most people will want to come, or at least they claim that most people want to come. But there's another type that you are not that big, but you are like beautiful to a small group of people, but not very small, but just a specific type of people. And you're very good at solving these people's problems. And so like some people would very much into NFT. The NFT is just like this small, beautiful planet that they want to spend their rest of life. And so, is my understanding like proper of the Horizen?
So I agree with that, and I think that this is. Oh, please, I'm sorry. Were you continuing?
OK， 就我们这边可能碰到一点网络问题，就稍微有一点卡。
Our internet connection is not very stable. My question is, I just finished my question.
Okay. No worries. Yeah, no, I agree with that view of the world. I think it's very consistent with what I said as well. Is I called them 2 different types of forces. Oh. Sorry, and if we view this as, on one hand, you have these very large networks that are solving many problems, and they're very large, and then on the other hand, you have very specific ones solving very specific problems. That's completely consistent with where, how I view the world. I think it's too early to tell which networks will fall into which category, and I think this is something that might be not as obvious to like many people in the industry, because we're used to the projects that are big right now, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, right? But some of these projects weren't big 5 years ago. And 5 years from now, we'll probably have a different perspective on which projects have actually grown significantly and which projects have really honed in on particular use cases. It's still too early to tell, and the reason why I say this is because we've probably had something like less than 1% of the world actually jump into the crypto environment so far, right? You can't really extrapolate trends when you have only data from 1% of a sample. So we still need to wait some years to see how the industry matures, but I think we're all learning a lot every day that we're in this industry.
OK， 好，那下一个问题就是我比较好奇的就是一些就比较偏实际的我们就知道 ZEN 最近应该上线了一个 staking 的活动，就这个 staking 的活动其实 L-Bank 很多用户都在关注，所以可以对大家来具体阐述一下这个活动的一些细节吗？
Okay, thank you very much. Next question. Still out of curiosity, but this is a little practical question. I know that Horizen has just launched staking, and the users of L-Bank are very much concerned or they're very interested in this activity. Could you please give a little explanation of what you're doing with staking?
Yeah, we actually have a very large staking program that I highly encourage LBank to participate in. I think it would be great for your users. I have to throw that out there. What it is we subsidize our infrastructure. So 20% of the block reward, every block that's mined, 20% of the economic reward in that block goes to people that run full nodes on our system and register those full nodes. So basically there's a process for how you can register to be a node operator, and you get paid to do that. So we have it's like a master node program. Now we do have another element of this as well that we recently launched, which is a wrapped version of Zen that does that, but it's on the Ethereum network. So we actually straddle both networks. We have our large infrastructure node program, which I think it would be fantastic if LBank participated in, and we recently had an extension of this, which is a wrapped Zen on the Ethereum network.
OK， 好，然后还有一个就可能比较细节的问题，我刚刚有听到说可能ZEN 我们接下去还有一些规划，尤其可能就下2周可能会有一些东西想要向社区公布的，那有没有可能说对 LBank 的用户我们提前先透露一些 ZEN 未来的一些计划
？Okay, next detailed question. As you just said, there may be news in the coming months, in the coming weeks. Do you have anything new that you want to divulge to the community of LBank, to the users of LBank? Just like pick 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, you know, our lawyers would be unhappy with me if I released information before we made it public. But what I can say is we are within weeks of completing development on this very large platform that we've taken the last 3 years to build. So this is an extremely important moment for the Horizen ecosystem, and probably this is reflected in some way in the recent growth and the value of the ecosystem, right? So now, this is probably the most significant bit of news that we have. Now, simultaneously to this, and what a lot of people don't realize is we've had a beta version of this product on the market since last July. Not this last July, but actually the July of 2019. We've had a beta version of the sidechain system, and we've been working with very high-profile partners like Celsius Network, as an example, is a partner of Horizen's, where we're building a sidechain that does decentralized audit using zero-knowledge proofs of the Celsius Network's reserves. So that's a really important product that we're building, and we already have phase 1 of that project done. Another one is we're partnered with the IOTA network, the Internet of Things blockchain, or really a Tangle. And we're now partnered as a layer 2 on IOTA so that they have the device data coming onto their Tangle. And now we can take some of that data as is required for some applications and actually package this data on a layer 2 Horizen sidechain and provide privacy services for the network doing that. So this is just one class of problems that we're solving in the industry, is that Horizen itself, these side chains could be layer 2s for other blockchains. So it's actually, we're getting an explosion of demand for our services by being layer 2s to other blockchains. Now there's a whole other category that we're solving now on the business side. And we have some really big traction on use cases with some very large companies that are famous companies globally that we can't really announce right now. But this is what I mean by significantly expanding our network and maybe being able to leapfrog other public blockchains out there by getting the right business partners that already have hundreds of millions of users around the world and being their blockchain partner. So you can consider Horizen a sort of infrastructure in the background, providing network services to other businesses or the blockchain industry itself. So there's a lot going on there, a lot of partnerships. I mean, we just recently announced this LBank partnership. This is a really important one for us, especially entering this market and getting more traction, and just working with high quality exchanges out there is another really important growth of our ecosystem.
OK，特别棒。那我理解的，就可能我们本月最重要的事情对 ZEN 来说就是和 L Bank 的合作。那下个月最重要的事情，就 L Bank 的用户只能拭目以待。但是我听下来，可能是一个对整个行业来说都是特别重大的一个事情。
Wow, fascinating. By my understanding, so the most important thing right now for the Horizen would be probably the cooperation between us. And the next big thing for the next month, the thing that the news that you will broadcast will be probably very important for the industry. That's my understanding, and I think this is great.
That's exactly right. I wish I could disclose some of that now, but it would be inappropriate before we actually announce it publicly.
OK， 因为时间关系啊，就我看这边也不早了。那 L Bank 的用户已经听到现在，我想问一下，就是你有什么想对 L Bank 这边的，就是对 L Bank 这边有一些什么问题吗
？Thank you so much. It's pretty late now, and the users of L Bank has been listening till now. And do you have any questions about L Bank you want to ask?
Yeah, one thing that I always like to ask is what would be the ideal blockchain partner for L Bank?
你觉得，就我经常要问的问题就是你觉得
OK， 这个问题其实很大。就 L Bank， 当我们选择合作伙伴的时候，有一个是我一定会考虑的，就是它是否有利于整个行业的一个发展。就其实我们现在看到的，会有各式各样的人，因为整个区块链的一些热度，因为区块链的一些财富效应加入到这个生态里面来，他们会把很多外部的流量带进来。但是并不是说所有的流量，我会觉得都是对 blockchain 这件事情有益的，当中会存在可能他们只是短期的想要蹭一波热点，或者说他们只是被这个财富效应眼热所吸引过来的。所以当我们找合作伙伴的时候，我可能最考虑的一件就是他对整个生态是否有益，他是否在这个生态里面帮助了整个行业前行。比如说 ZEN 他刚才会提的，就刚才你会提到说，可能我们在 Layer 2上我们有一些创新，我们可能我们可能就和其他的，比如说类似 Alta 这样的项目，会共同推进整个区块链行业往前走一步。所以这个应该是 L Bank 选择合作伙伴最重要的因素。
This is a big question. When we choose the partners, there's one thing. I think that's the most important thing that we consider is whether this project will be beneficial to the whole industry. Will it be incremental for the industry? There are many people joining the blockchain because that is a hot topic, or maybe because that they see that many people have become rich because they're in the blockchain. And they actually have brought big traffic into our ecosystem, our industry. But not all of them are beneficial in my point of view. And so when I'm thinking about my partner, I'm also thinking about this whole ecosystem, this whole industry, whether my partner can help this industry, help this ecosystem move forward. Just like Horizen, what you have done, that you can help other public chains to help implement the layer 2 projects, and also you work with other partners to advance not just the technology, but also many other things about the blockchain. And so, yeah, whether a project or a partner can help this whole industry is, I think, the most important factor I consider.
That's fantastic. Can I ask one more question? I know it's late.
That's all right.
Okay.
Sure.
So what are you seeing matters most to the Korean community right now?
OK， 这是一个很有趣的问题啊，就是我不确定我的翻译能否很好的翻译一个词，就我们一直说的有一个叫泡菜溢价， 它是什么？就是我们会看到，在韩国，它的比特币的价格可能比全球市场都要高了5到6个百分点，就前段时间最高的时候可能到了10个百分点。对大部分的韩国民众而言，我觉得他们看到的就是我刚才说的区块链的财富效应。整个韩国区块链从技术上，我会觉得并没有走在整个世界的前列，就可能是一个中游的水平。但是从参与度和民众的热情而言，可能是最高的。那我个人认知，我会觉得韩国市场对全球市场都是特别重要的一部分。那韩国的话，可能就因为他们未来的各种各样的可能性。就目前而言，我会觉得也是，需要怎么说？就除了技术以外，那在就包括在技术各方面还急需努力的一个市场。
This is a very interesting question. I'm not even sure my interpreter can translate this word properly. We say that in Chinese, 泡菜溢价, which, well, let me try my best. Which probably is equivalent to saying the preserved vegetable premium, because the preserved vegetable is a kind of dish that appears in every household in Korea. So there's this premium, because we know the price of Bitcoin has always been like around 5 to 10% higher than the global price. Mm-hmm. So most Korean participators, they just see the richness or the fact of the blockchain creating rich people, but they haven't. I mean, the whole Korean community, the blockchain community, haven't done much for the blockchain technology, or at least they are not the top. But we have to admit that the enthusiasm of participating in the blockchain is probably the top in the world. So we have to say the Korean market is like one of the most important markets in the world, but they have many potentialities. They need to work harder to prove themselves, probably, like in terms of technology or many other aspects. Yeah, that's my answer. I don't know if I have answered the question.
That's a great answer. Thank you. Yeah, that's great.
OK， 那因为时间关系，就这边时间已经差不多了。那就我刚才就是有看，然后有看到就是我们这边同事有一个问题特别想要询问这边 ZEN 的，因为我们都知道就是 L Bank 可能即将会上线 ZEN。他们会比较关注说，因为现在整个行情就整个市场其实波动会比较大一点，无论是比特币也好，以太坊也好，我们看到前段时间可能突然暴跌，然后这段时间又整个行情开始回暖，所以他们会比较关注说，就是站在你这边就个人的一个观点，你会觉得就是未来一段时间，整个区块链他们在2级市场，就比如说比特币，然后包括ETH， 就这些项目，他们可能短期表现会如何？
One of my colleagues just sent me a question that he wants me to ask you. We all know that L Bank is going to list the ZEN, and everybody is now very, very much interested in, or they are focused on the oscillations and the perturbations of the market, because we know that just like several days ago, the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum just plummeted, but now the price just kind of increased a bit back. And so what is your personal perspective of the future of these two big cryptocurrencies on the listed exchanges?
I mean, that's a great question, because my PhD is in finance, so I typically realize that I know nothing about the future of asset prices, right? It's made me humble, actually. What I see is you can have two different types of cryptocurrency assets in this market, and maybe this is too simple, but one is the store of value use case like Bitcoin, and there won't be many store of value use cases. They'll be very limited. Bitcoin dominates, and then you have the utilities, and within the utilities, the coin itself matters, not just because of a speculative vehicle, but because you're providing services on a network, and those network services require that token to operate, right? So this is almost two different things. And one, the speculative side, like the store of value side, really matters. The things that matter there are interest rates, risk aversion across populations, and really the things that you get in a normal asset class. On the utility side, what really matters is the growth of the network and what kinds of things are really being done on the network. And you need the token to do that. So Zen is more on the utility side. We started as a currency, and now with this platform, we're migrating very sharply into the utility side. So now a utility case could have different asset price dynamics than a store of value use case. I'm not sure where the markets are going, but what I look at personally, and this is not investment advice at all, is interest rates are so low all over the world. Every central bank is printing as much currency as it possibly can, and debts are escalating, out of control, I would say. So this is an environment where I want to hold cryptocurrency. That's all I know. I can't make predictions, but I do think that we're in the right industry at the right time.
OK， 我觉得你实在太谦虚了。你刚才讲的其实已经很专业了。不管是就比特币，它因为它的通缩机制导致的它的货币属性，还有比如说各式各样 utility， 就我们会说现在的区块链从原来可能早期的我们会去讲一个区块链的故事，到现在我们去用区块链做一些实际上的事情，所以 utility token 现在会大行其道这种应用型的代币，所以它们的价值是不断的被发现的。所以就我个人的观点，我很认同你说的，就是无论说短期的币价怎么波动，但是从长远来看，我会觉得区块链的未来一定特别辉煌。那所有的 utility token 只要他们真的被用起来，被越来越多的人知道，被越来越多人使用，那他们的价值一定会无限的一个慢慢的上涨。
I think you're being very, very humble. What you said can be counted as professional. We know that Bitcoin, because of its deflation property, so it's been very, very popular. And like in the previous years, in the early years of the blockchain, we only talked about stories. We broadcast our stories, but now we actually are using blockchain to do things, to really to do business, and that's when we found utility tokens. And so regardless how perturbations happen and fluctuations happen, as long as we use the utility tokens, I think the values of utility tokens will be unlimited.
OK，
I completely agree.
那因为时间，
我完全同意。
Yeah， 达成共识。Yeah，OK。
Consensus reached.
Yeah。OK， 那因为时间关系，可能我们今天的直播就到这里，要跟 Roger 说 goodbye 了。
Yeah, because
Robert.
Yeah. I think because of the time limit, I think our broadcast time to call it a day. Time to call the broadcast over. Thank you very much. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And Eric, it was a pleasure meeting you. And,
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah. The last thank you comes from the translator.
Yeah. Okay. It's a good meeting. Yeah. See you next time, Robert. Yeah.
Bye, guys.